Mark Manning.
I suppose the lesson to be learnt from Scary Era podcast is just do it. I mean, if you've got something in your mind, at some stage, whenever down the road, make it come to fruition. It's a bit like if you build it, they will come. Now, I know that's not quite what's said in the movie, but, that's how it kind of happened organically. The story actually goes back to the early 1970s when I was an army brat growing up in a barracks which was formerly known as Portobello and is now, and for many years, since the 50s anyway, has been called Cahill Barracks. And my father was a senior army officer. He retired a full colonel, and we had this in the officers' quarters, this particular building. It's still there, and I see it. I've seen a picture of it from around 1910, I think. And it had a kind of a contraption on the roof, which I think was a big fan because it had been an army officer's, or part of it had been an army officer's mess, which I'd say is near where the story begins because, well, as you go on to 1922, Michael Collins himself had an office in that block, and it's probably the office he set out from on that last trip down to Cork. But anyway, it wasn't Michael Collins I saw. We had what was known as the master bedroom, some of the kids and myself, siblings, and it had a really distinctive mantelpiece in it. I remember that it was kind of almost like purple marble. I'd say it was worth a fortune. It was a big room, but it was also, there was a vibe about it. It was pretty much always dark. It had two windows that faced out onto a field, and the field led, if you looked out over it, you could see Rathmines Church, the distinctive famous green dome on it. But it would get sun maybe up until midday, and then it was usually kind of dark and austere for the rest of the day. But on this particular morning, I woke up, it must have been about 4 a.m, as kids do. I just woke up early and I saw a lady, not in the least threatening, in fact quite serene, in a 1800s outfit, I suppose. It was a long blue cloak. I know that sounds very cliched. She had long dark hair and she was looking at me. And just looking at me. And she must have been only about 10, 15 feet away from the bed, but she was at the door. I distinctly remember that. I was offered that room when I was 24 years of age, and I wouldn't take it. Right? So that's the effect it left on me. But it was very fleeting, but hugely vivid at the time. It stuck with me for life. I mean, I'm 62 years of age now, and I still talk about it. So the hair does stand up on your head, and I gingerly retreated under the covers. Of course, you can guess what happened. It was the next morning. I saw a ghost in the room. Mum and Dad, yeah. Eat your Weetabix, go to school. And that pretty much was the end of it. But it stuck with me. It gave me an open mind to the paranormal, if you like. And it's never left me. And I feel in some ways quite privileged to have seen what I saw. And, I will go to my grave saying what I saw. And no one's going to change my mind. Now, I did do a bit of research as my life moved on. There was a poisoning in the barracks, and a lady was put on trial for it. Her name was Anne Wintford Marshall, which is a very kind of double-barreled British name. Obviously, the place was occupied by British troops and officers during the time for a long time. I mean, it was there since like 1810 or 1815. And it still is, so there's a history for you. She was accused of poisoning a guy called Gunnar Donaldson, right, who was found in an apartment, as it was called. Now, the bottom line is all the records went back with the Brits in 1922, so I can't tell what building in the barracks that occurred in, but it would explain a lot to me if it had been that particular house, because it would be like an exhalation or a burst of energy or some kind of grief or something that just gets replayed, when atmospherics are at a specific... This is my theory anyway. And then you hear of stone tape theory and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, look, it happened. It stuck in my head for years. And then one day, of all people, there used to be a guy called Pat O'Mahony. Do you remember the Clothes Show? And I don't know how, but we were having coffee one day. He was a TV presenter on RTE, and he still does great radio work for them. And I tried to get him interested in putting a podcast together. He won't even remember this. And I said, look, I'm thinking of calling it Scary Era. Now, I knew, of course, there had been some kind of an Irish band called Scary Era. And I just thought, look, the name might lose in translation internationally because not a lot of people know what EIRE is. But Scary EIRE has a ring about it, and Scary EIRE Paranormal was what it would be called. Pat had no interest in it whatsoever. He said to me, yeah, it's a good name. It was a great rap band. End of story. Didn't want to talk about it. Didn't want to really know me. That was it. He went back to doing his radio gig on RTE, you know. So, and I went back to doing my voiceovers or whatever I was doing in 2018. I'm still doing voiceovers. But I had a heart issue in 2019, which kind of, and it really shook me. And it really kind of made me think, like, what kind of things do I want to do before I shuffle off the mortal coil kind of thing. And I just revisited Scary EIRE, and I used to listen to a station. No, it wasn't a station. It was a podcast called Paranormal UK Radio. And it's been around apparently for years, and it does have thousands of listeners. It's an acquired taste, okay? And it's pretty much just people talking paranormal, usually from England and the odd bit from the States. And I used to just listen to it, like, passively. And one day I was in the kitchen and I heard this guy saying, and he was very English-like, and he was saying, he'd liked doing the podcast, but he'd gotten a bit fed up with it now, and it was a bit of a commitment every week to put it together and blah, 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 and he was leaving, but he was very nice, you know, and he gave his email address. So I pinged him, right, and we got talking, and he said, well, here's the guy to contact. He put me in touch with a guy in America, and we had a chat. I said, look, I've got all this experience. I used to present radio, a little bit of TV. I'm radio crazy, but I'm going mad. No one's interested in what I do, but I have this thing, and I want to revisit it on a regular basis and just explore the paranormal community in Ireland. I want to call it Scary EIRE Paranormal. Now, I feel recently like, I don't know if you remember an episode of Father Ted, the second best priest in Ireland. Because I was told recently that, look at Mark, your downloads are the second most downloaded show on the Paranormal UK radio platform, which is a small little victory, I suppose you might say. It's been really interesting. There is a vibrant paranormal community. They are not all lunatics, anything but. They're some of the most professional people I've ever met, and I've interviewed so many of them. I'm on episode 22 at the moment. Feel free to go Google Scary EIRE Paranormal Podcast, and it's all there. Don't know if anybody's interested in it or not, but there you go. That's the story. But I've been amazed at how many great people I've met. I've talked to witches, I've talked to psychic mediums, I've got some great voiceover people who help out and do some work. Look, it's been a really nice little journey at this later stage of my life. Quite fulfilling.